Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Uncensored Journey podcast. We are here for highlighting our stars. And today we have one of our amazing resources in the community. Her name is Mamedjarra, and she is just an amazing entrepreneur, businesswoman, an educator. And I wanted to make sure that we bring Mamedjarra to the platform to discuss your journey, your impact. I think so many people can learn from you and what you do in Senegal and outside of Senegal. So, welcome.
Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you for having me. I am honored. I've been watching your podcast and I'm proud of you, the work that you're
Oh,
doing. You are a luminary, so it's a
thank
pleasure
you.
to
Thank you. No, the pleasure is ours. It's a pleasure to have you. One of the main reasons why I wanted to make sure that I get you on the podcast is because I was able to go through and see all the work that you're doing. And I think that a lot of people can learn from the fact that we often say go back to Africa, invest in Africa, and you are literally doing that. You are investing in Africa, you're investing in the youth in Africa, and you can see the impact that it has. So I want to definitely highlight that. But before we go, I want to learn, not go, before we start that part, I want to learn more about you and your upbringing, specifically anything that you want to talk about that re- relates back to who you are today. How
hmm
was your upbringing?
Ooh, I like to say my upbringing was such a wonderful experience. Also interesting at the same time. My mother was African American, who considered herself 100% African. My father is Senegalese, and it was such a amazing opportunity being able to learn about my history and culture at a very early age. When I was
Yeah.
2, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but when I was 2, I was sent to Senegal. I stayed in Senegal for approximately 6 years.
Mm.
English at all. It was Wolof because I lived in Pekin, Dara Kudus.
Mm.
Uh, and in when we say like Pekin in the hood, I lived in the big house, like Kurgumak. That's what we would call it.
Mm,
So
yeah.
like Kurgumak, you would have like your dad and your dad's wives
Mhm.
and my brothers and
Yeah.
sisters. It was just no off it.
No,
It was
you
so
same
it was
setup.
something.
My family's from Gidgeway, so I totally understand.
Mashallah, get your wife, but we more hood, picking more hood, let's be
Thinking
honest.
is very hood.
It is hood, it is hood, depending on where you are. We're in Echo Love, so like Kote, Canada, that's where we're from.
Okay,
But
okay.
that experience was amazing because I remember I remember growing up and my mother was actually in the US and my father, and then I was there with my brothers and sisters and my
Really?
yeah, for 5 years, and when I came back to the US, it was foreign for me. Like,
Mm.
I didn't even know that I was American. I didn't even know that my
Yeah.
mother was American, so when I came around 7 and my mother was like, "Baby, it's me." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Uh, Carol, man, I don't know."
Right, right.
And it was like a cultural identity. It was like a culture shock for me because
Mm.
living in I mean, coming back to the US, I felt like
Mhm.
honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like a now that I'm looking
Foreign.
back, like a slave coming to America because
Really?
I felt like I was forced. I felt like I was forced
Mm.
to come back out against my will.
You didn't want
Um,
to come back.
no, because I didn't know America.
Yeah, well, no, good.
I,
You did it.
I had left when I was 2, so all I knew was my budget and some my tante and my brothers and sisters. So coming
Yeah.
back, it was a whole nother family. Like I had my mom and my dad fighting
Mm.
English again, but I had my brother and my sisters that were much older than me,
Yeah.
and uh, it was it was a culture shock, but it was a wonderful experience because living
Yeah.
in Brooklyn during the '90s is
Mm.
with Biggie and
It was lit. It was lit.
Sty and all of that. So being around that
Yeah.
time and growing up in that area, I felt like I was. I was surrounded by a huge diasporic community, so I used to take African
Mm.
dance class. I was part of this dance company called Mamuna Keita School of African Dance, where she was
Okay, okay.
A Senegalese woman who came to the US teaching Senegalese
Mm,
dancing, traditional dancing, and also Malian folklore. So we would learn the music and the history and culture. So
yeah.
had the privilege of understanding my culture, my history through dance, through music, and
Mm,
being a part of that was something that was amazing because it was hard for me to speak in English, so I was able to express
yeah.
myself artistically in dance, in theater,
Mm,
and which pushed me to be part of like these youth programs and everything. And this is where I
yeah.
fell in love with working with children because I was always in those type of after school programs or the extracurricular like artistic activities
Mm.
involved with. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Woo, you gonna be on a whirlwind.
it was
That
a lot.
it was no, I love it. It was interesting to hear you say like you didn't want to come back because I don't know why that's probably my own bias, but I was like shocked to hear that because I was assuming like you wanted to be back, and that's what I frequently hear. My parents took me to Senegal when I was like whatever age, and then they brought me back, and I didn't want to go to Senegal. But you're like I was born raised in Senegal, and then I came here out of nowhere. I know you were born here, but like that was the feeling of this is
Yeah,
my family, this is my home base, and now I'm
absolutely.
being forced to come and get to know a new environment, new family. That was an interesting perspective, and that's really interesting because I very rarely hear that. But how did you adjust? What do you feel like helped you adjust? Was it the arts and the dance and the activities you were a part of?
Yes, and it was definitely my mother and my
Yeah,
family. My mother was such an Afro-centered woman who, like I
yeah.
said, she believed in Africa, and for her, Africa was a mindset. She had her master's in African studies. She'd gone to
I know that's right.
Right, she went to the University of Ibadan, went to Nigeria, Ghana, and
Mm,
parts of Africa where she was actually immersed
mm,
in culture and learning about the history. So that, like
mm.
growing up with my mom with so much knowledge and being around that community, it was just like the home was like a library for us. Like we had
Yeah,
to joke, the origin of civilization in our library. We had John Henry Clark, we had
yeah,
Kwame Nkrumah. We had all of these scholars, African scholars and luminaries who paved the way for us. And growing up and seeing that on my bookshelf and everything, like
yeah.
I was bound to really delve deep into history and culture and be more immersed in who.
Mm.
So, but I did. There was a time when how I adjusted was I started being really good in dance and theater, very artistic.
Mhm.
I'm a sad, so I'm very like, yeah,
Yeah.
I started being really Americanized. Like when I
Yeah.
when I turned like from 12, 13, 14, I was like, I'm a dancer, I'm this, that, and the third, and all of this. And I remember I started acting up because I wanted to fit in, and I
Mm.
like a whole cultural identity crisis again. I was like, yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, yeah, yeah. And my father was like, nah, you're getting too Americanized. You got to go back to Senegal. I'm like, I ain't go
Ah,
back to Senegal. I'm from Brooklyn. He said, demo. I'm like, what? My father gave me that ticket to go back to Senegal real quick. My accent changed. I was like, Papa, bye, man, get out of the please. I know. I love Senegal. He was like, mm-mm. He said, you getting way too hood. Mm-mm.
he was not playing.
He's not playing. He
So
was
wait,
like,
did you end up having to go back or he left you here?
yeah. I went back. I stayed there for 4 years. I went to high school.
What age was this?
13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, I was in high school. I went to this school called the Senegalese American Bilingual School. It was a bilingual school where the
Oh
woman
my
that
god.
owned the school, actually, she's Senegalese. I mean, she's actually African American and was married to
Okay.
Senegalese. And school was a pretty amazing school. Like, it was
Yeah.
family oriented. Met a lot of life friends, like long life friends,
Yeah.
and family members that I consider family now because of attending that school. And it was like mad during those times, like when I was in my teens, going
Yeah.
back to Senegal, I was like, I don't want to go back. So I did have that mentality.
Right.
I was like, because I became already
Uh,
Americanized, and I had forgotten Wolof too. I mean, not too much, but I did
yeah.
a little bit. And when I went back and I went to that school, tell me why it was like mad students, mad children from the States coming back to Senegal because they were acting up. Like it was like a whole bunch of us. Like I even see one of my
No.
friends, Prince. He's
Yeah,
my
he's
little
funny.
brother. Yes,
Yeah.
I see him in after school too. I was like, wait a minute, aren't you? Yo, you from the south? You from Brooklyn? Yo, you like it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
was
because
like
I remember y'all did a live and you both were talking about, I think this was during the pandemic. You know the pandemic was.
yeah,
Shout out to him though, because he held us down during the pandemic with
he
the with
did,
the
he
lives.
did,
He was
he
holding it
did.
down.
I love Prince.
Um,
That's my brother, Prince.
right.
But it was him, me. We had all these other people who
Yeah.
were like Senegalese American, or just plain American, and we would go back. And that school was like the haven of
Of
us.
education. Oh,
Agent
just
of
y'all.
good rats. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my
But
gosh.
but it was such an amazing like concept of coming
That's a
back and
culture shock.
it was a culture shock, but it was such a culture shock that was so beneficial for
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure many of us, because I know that if I hadn't gone back, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be where I am right now when it
Yeah.
comes to education and things of that sort. So it's
What do
amazing.
you think was your funniest or favorite part of high school or when you went back to Senegal? I don't know if it was high school or middle school. I'm assuming it was like, you
But for
know,
some reason, people said I was Jamaican.
yo, people think I'm Jamaican too.
Yeah,
Senegalese be like, I thought you were Jamaican. I'm like, no.
they thought I was Jamaican, and because when I spoke Wolof, I had my accent and everything. Like I had an American. I was like, Buma Fonto, wow wow, Zugala, Jahma, Halis. They were like, wait a minute. And then I remember the time, like in high school,
Yo,
there
my
would be
cheeks are
like,
gonna hurt from laughing.
there would be I remember having the parties and everything, and when like reggae came on and stuff, when I heard some Tom Paul or something, I was,
Reggae's lit.
what?
Enjoy
That's why
yourself.
I thought I was Jamaican. I was like, yeah, what go on, my them?
Yeah.
You don't know. No, let me
No,
stop.
I feel like there's a couple of girls where like you see them and you're like, I don't know if she's Jamaican or African because just the way you act, I feel like, but I also feel like when you are explaining your parents to me, it makes so much sense now. Like I feel like you embody the both of them so perfectly because
Thank
you can
you.
tell that your mom's legacy still lives with you. Like you carry that every day. You are
I
very
do.
educated. You
Thank
ask
you.
very intentional questions and like your impact is very intentional. So I can still see your mom with the way that you interact with youth. I don't know your mother, but I can figure out the type of woman she was in the aura just on the way that you carry yourself. But
Oh,
also,
thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, I can tell she has like a beautiful soul and really it made you all realize like this is education is important for you to be educated. It's important for you to know your roots. And I also feel like your father was there if you forgot your roots. And so you can see that you constantly make sure that people know you're Senegalese and that you don't fall into whatever fields are of being just American or just Senegalese. I think you mesh them both well. So
Absolutely.
I love that for you. I love
Thank
that for you.
you.
That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. I really
So
appreciate it. I
yeah,
really appreciate it. And I honestly, like, I consider myself like, for me, I'll go all the way back when it comes to like, okay, let's talk about Africa. Let's talk about our history and culture.
right.
And oh, I remember coming to Senegal after grad school, and I was like, I'm gonna like really set shop there. I'm gonna really
Yeah.
focus on Sunu in Senegal and make it a year-round program. And when I was
Mhm.
there, I did have this Americanized mentality of like everything was gonna be like swift and easy. I already did the paperwork, and but in Africa, it's a whole different ball game. In Senegal, it's different, and
Yeah. You remember I called you because I was like, I'm thinking of doing this, and you're kind of doing something similar, but you gave me some really good advice. But I'm still like, I like to pick up and go, just to go.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, we
struggling with.
do.
Oh,
Yombul.
yombul.
Yombul. It's something where it's not for the faint of heart. It's like you have to have that passion. You have to have the
Yeah.
endurance and the patience because Senegal is a whole nother concrete jungle, you know,
Yeah.
and um, the culture is different from the U.S., you know, and
Yeah.
being able to implement like a program that deals with education. And I'm like, yeah, cosaan la yep. And they're like, American bi di ñëw di naan daf dañu jàngal cosaan
No,
who this
seriously.
is and stuff. And it wasn't even about that. It was about like, you know,
Mm,
implementing the importance of who we are and like amplifying that because I do
right.
feel like Senegal, we have such a strong culture. We have such a
You do.
vibrant essence to us, and we are one of the best storytellers when it comes to story making. You know,
Mhm.
I love being part of that. Like I'm a giver. You know, um,
Right. Me too.
yes, I'm a giver. Wow, wow. Bakri ma samba kumaken kumangali mbay samba njay ma pato ay dang samba lobe sanjay nay like
Yo, yo do American. You a whole you Senegalese. Because one give a lot. Some of family, my mom's side of the family give a link, but I swear I cannot do that.
bete bete. Wow,
It's
wow.
a
No, no,
it's
no.
an art. The way you do it, I love it.
But you know what? It's part of who we are. Like being a
Yeah.
like I'm a Jobin. I'm a Joba Juba. Like our history being a Job, I take it very seriously. If anyone is like, oh, if I hear someone that's a Jobin, we have a strong history of as storytellers, as scholars, as luminaries.
Absolutely.
So my history of our people has always stuck in me because of
Mhm.
my family. Like I
Yeah.
remember going, I held with lolip some bajendita so the tago egg the lol. I learned it, you know. It's so
Yeah.
yeah.
So for those who aren't Senegalese and don't understand, could you explain to them the history of the last name Diop or something that you want to highlight?
So Job, you know, I would like to say our history, we are really known for um as storytellers, but at the same
Mm,
time, Job, like Job Juba, Dub, meaning to do good or to be righteous.
correct. Yeah.
So it came from that, and also it
Ooh,
correlates.
you taught me something new. I did not know that. I did
Thank
not know
you.
that.
Thank you. But it
Yeah.
comes from a historical standpoint of who we are as a
Mm,
people. And they say Juba Juba, Madaman Fab Juba, Fata Fasu Juba Daudelu. Like, you know, it's it's a history, a strong history
yeah.
on it. But
Mm,
our descendants like Dr. Sheikh Diop or Lajor, you know, Latir. And like we are well known for our not just stories, but our strength, you know, as
yeah.
Jobians. So, you know, I
Yeah,
take
and being scholars in whatever
yes,
field you're in. Yeah.
storytellers and everything, you know.
Yeah.
So,
So if your last name is Diop, drop that in the comments. Or if
well,
you love
well,
somebody,
you already know.
show
Job,
that Diop pride.
I'm gonna come Diop. Wow, wow.
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay.
remember growing up and they would be like Diop. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
Diop. Mom
No,
got
correct that. Yeah, correct that. That's like what, oh my gosh.
it.
The name Mamjada has taken me through so much. So they were Mama Diara, Mama Diarrhea. I said, ah, Holland. Sama tur bi nag bu leen ma ko yàqal. Sama tur bu rafet bi ngeen
Wow.
naan ma Mama
What?
Diarrhea.
What? I remember. I remember one time it was one of my professors, and he was reading my name and
Yeah.
like my
Mm.
Dijara, and I was like, it's Mom Jada, and he was like, I'm gonna call you. Can you give me a shorter name? I said, it's Mom Jada, and she was
Yeah.
like, do you don't have a nickname or anything? I said, my name is Mom Jada. I have it has weight, you know.
Yeah.
The meaning, a history. Mam Jara was a prolific woman, a prolific wife
Absolutely.
and leader and mother.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna cut my name short. You know, it's Mam
Yeah.
Jara Buso Joke. It's either you learn
Absolutely.
it or you know you just don't say my name. But
Right. Right.
for
And you know what? I will say that's one thing that I felt pressure to in high school, but not in high school, in elementary, but
Mhm.
not because I was making it easier for them. It was like for me, I was like, you know what? Just call me Mamie because I was getting so frustrated at the fact that they kept ruining this amazing name that I was like, I'm not even about to deal with this every day. Just call
Mhm.
me Mamie. And then I continue on. But I had to double back in college and be like, no, my name is Mamedjarra. Call me
Oh, we have a
Mamedjarra.
muggle
Yes.
after we have a muggle after our name. Sokhna Mam
Mm-hmm.
Bale, right? What?
Yes.
Bale. Woo! Mam Jara Buso.
Absolutely.
Bali Buso Jare Yatu. Bali Buso Jare Yatu. Oh, girl.
Okay, so I want to get into Sunu Thiossane and before we go to another segment.
Okay.
Um, so Sunu Thiossane, it's a youth development program that you were able to found in Senegal, and it's currently serving so many youth in different programs, different aspects when it comes to like college readiness, English skills, and the main focus, of course, the arts. And
Mhm.
I want to know, can you first share more about Sunu Thiossane and just the impact it has had so far?
Um, Sunu, the reason why I had created Sunu Thiossane was I remember I was an after school director. After,
Yeah.
so I was running an after school program.
Mm.
My cousin was actually the director, and then when she left, I became the director. And I realized, like, while as an after school director, um, just
Mm.
implementing programming and culture with the demographic that we're in, it wasn't marginalized as it should be. So
Mhm.
I wanted to always implement like arts and culture in our history, especially for our people in the diaspora, learning
Yeah.
about our history, learning about the arts in a way where it really amplifies who you are. It really makes you make better life choices because of the confidence
Right.
that knowing about your history. So I remember during that time when Mayor Bloomberg at the time was cutting off, he was doing budget cuts on after school programs.
Mhm.
Like, you know what, this is my time not to actually. I spoke to my mother about it. My mom was like, you need to go back to Africa, go back to Senegal,
Oh
and
my goodness.
you do this program, Sunu Chasan, because I had been talking about it for a minute. I told my friends about it. I was like, I gotta go
Yeah.
back, and my mom. It was always her vision for us to have like an educational bridge between Africans and African Americans in the diaspora, so that we can be able to unify more and connect. So
Absolutely.
when I started the program, we were initially in Brooklyn. And
Yeah.
then we had a summer camp there. I had my nephews involved and everything. And then afterwards,
I did
we,
not know this.
we moved to
That's
Harlem.
amazing.
It's been a journey, because we started in
Yeah.
2011, and I was like, I think it was in like probably
Yeah.
2019. And I didn't know where the impact that it would have, or I didn't know where it would take me, because Lord
Yeah.
knows this journey has been a blessing, but it also been a struggle, and I had
Right.
learned
Right.
so much from it. But I remember uh, in Harlem, we were there. We were partnering
Mm.
with the Senegalese Association, Association Senegalese. So
Mm.
we were having our programs, we're taking our students to museums and being able to have like programs for Kwanzaa and everything. And I remember one year, it's with Ndey Mariam, and
Yeah.
we all came together, and Jara and all of them, we decided
Mhm.
to actually do our summer camp in Senegal.
Yeah.
Reached out to the school that I used to go to, Sab's my aunt, who I was like,
Mm.
I need to come back. Is there a way I could do a summer camp at your school? She was like, girl, yeah. I said, I want to do about the art. She was like, why don't you incorporate English immersion, since
Yeah.
Senegal is a francophone country, so that the students and the parents would be interested, so that they can learn English.
Right.
I'm like, you know what?
Right.
That's a good idea. So we went back. We had an English immersion summer camp with students from SABS, and then we had like a entire like culminating showcase at the end. So with
Oh.
that, I remember my mom at the time. Our first year when we went, she sold her gold, her ivory, all of that. She was like, "Y'all going to Africa?
Right.
y'all go," and she really made it happen.
Period.
So I
Wow.
remember that first year was like 10 staff members, and we all
Wow.
went to do that summer camp. It was such an amazing experience. My brother was there, my mom. We were all like really going in, and that
Yeah.
first year, our last, our culminating showcase, because we have the summer camp for a month, and then we did a showcase at Grand Theater, which was
Yeah.
such an amazing experience. So we ended up coming back every year, um,
Uh-huh.
and we would have like a thematic based summer camp. So our first year was Senegal Sunu, about a young girl who goes back to Senegal and learns about
Uh-huh.
her history. The second one was hip hop, where we did a hip hop award, and we had um, a few hip hop artists that came. We had a
Yeah.
white who was also like the host at that time, and
Oh, really?
yeah, it was such an amazing, amazing
It's
experience.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was something where every year we would come back with our team, and I love how we immerse our teachers who were Senegalese and also from the States, and they would come together, and at the
Right.
end, produce this showcase, and these kids would come out like in the
Mhm.
beginning, like the first week they wouldn't speak in English, they wouldn't say anything to one another.
Right.
And at the end, they're like, "Hey, wife, I'm gonna miss you, my friend. Hey, wife, bye, wisdom, yo." And it would just be such like a wonderful experience that we had and everything. And
Yeah.
what you call it? It
I love
was,
this.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
over the years, after grad school, I had gone to grad school while I was here because it would just be a summer program, and then I would come to the States just to work as an after school director. And
Okay.
then,
What were you studying in
oh,
grad
arts administration. I have my
school?
bachelor's in public administration, and then
Really?
yes, and my
That's what
master's.
I'm getting my second master's in, so that's probably what I need to talk to you about.
Yes, the public sector. The
Mhm.
writing all that grants and everything is so we need it. Um,
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
we would fall off and we've just come, but
Yeah.
grants and all of that is a lot
Yeah.
of it. But
Yeah.
you know,
No,
you
absolutely. So
go
you
for it.
were I don't want to mess you up because I kind of interrupted you. So you say you were
Oh,
doing the after school program and then coming here to finish out. You were directing a after school program in America and then
mhm,
doing grad school.
mhm. And
Hmm.
then I had another position where I was a visiting manager for an African dance company from Senegal, and
Oh,
it was for the Brooklyn Academy of Music,
okay.
and that's when Unsenesored came in, and I was like in charge of the programming and just the logistics and interpreting. It was an interesting experience because I was able to use my degree in like the arts and everything, and I really loved doing it. Like
Right.
in arts and culture and education, and I was like, what, the only thing that we need is the youth and everything. So I
Right.
remember when after doing that I went to Senegal in 2016, I think 17, to set shop there, and I stayed to
Yeah.
do. We ended up having like a year-round program where we would do arts and education and with some partner schools, um,
Yeah.
and then an English immersion program for free for financially disadvantaged students that are like in Pekin and Parcel. And uh, and then we started actually over the years developing a cultural exchange program where we would bring students from Senegal to the States. And uh,
Really?
yeah, yeah. So it's
That's a
been
challenge. It's so hard to do. I was trying to work with a community college to get that done with a university and like do that swap or with a high school and a university and do that swap. But it's so much red tape to do.
it's so much red tape to do. It's not an easy process. Sometimes it could be very discouraging. Right now, we're also like going through some, with the political turmoil that's going on in Senegal, and just actually being able to apply for visas and
Right.
everything. It's such a sticky situation right now. But the
Yeah.
reason why we implemented the cultural exchange program is because uh, our youth, they don't have access to real quality education or programming that is for them,
Right.
so that they can really be able to travel, as
Right.
Africans. feel trapped, if you don't have a blue passport or an American passport or anywhere from Europe. Like, you do feel trapped and you dream about going to America or going to Europe, and then
Right.
having that opportunity for those students so that they can see what, the rest of the world looks like. I think
Yeah.
it's important because it would not just give them an understanding of the world, but it would also give them an understanding of who they are. And
Yeah.
uh,
Absolutely.
we've been very, like, consistent on having these type of programs for our
Mm.
youth, because it's important. Like, who else is going to do it if we don't have
We
programs
don't.
like this that's deliberately for our
Right.
African youth to become the best version of themselves, and how can we get access to these
Yeah.
resources for them to be able to have, and it can be sustainable. So it
Yeah.
hasn't been easy. It's been a struggle, but it's also been a blessing because of the impact, the changes that we've had. It really, these programs have changed the trajectory of these students' lives, and being
Mhm.
able to be a part of that, and the team that we have, it's so dynamic. It's been a blessing. Like, I definitely couldn't do this on my own.
No, you know what? That's one thing I wanted to ask you about. When you said team, it reminded me because I was like doing my research, and one, I want to give you your flowers. I'm so inspired by what you're doing, and I think it's such
Yeah.
an amazing concept when you are trying to figure out ways to enhance the education system. Because in my thesis, one of my main like critical analysis of Senegal education system is that you don't really hear about after school programs. The way that the system is set up, it's so hard for a student to go to school all day and then go and engage in an after school program when you have all these responsibilities at home. So the fact that you made that a mission to go and make an impact in that, I really appreciate it. And I also, when you said team, I was reading and I saw that you had social workers a part of the process. And
Mhm.
I'm like, one, this may be my ignorance. I don't very frequently hear about social workers within the education system or within a lot of programs in Senegal. And so I'm curious to know, how has that worked out of having a social worker available or a part of the process? What has been the benefit of that?
Yeah. So just to piggyback on what you said when it comes to our team, like the programs that we
Mhm.
do offer. Um, what's so different about how we offer the programs is
Mhm.
the international staff members that we do have from the States, from Senegal,
Mhm.
from different parts of West Africa, and them coming together. When we had a social worker who was there. Her name is Taylor Butts, who was such an amazing camp director and assistant camp,
Mm.
and implementing like a curriculum for social work, or like making sure that these students are getting the not just the assistance, but the mental um,
Mhm.
uh, aid, or just the help
Yeah.
that they need and everything. It is a lot of work. We haven't even like set up really per se the blueprint, because it's a whole nother culture. Like, we are
It's a trial period. Yeah.
right. We're African people. If there's anything that's happening, we go to the elders or things of that sort. So being able to have a social worker and really like
Yeah.
beginning to develop like a curriculum, an African centered based curriculum on how we can work with these children, and be able for them to express themselves in a certain matter is so important, because like the education system in Senegal, is for me, I think it is not the best.
No, I agree. Absolutely. 100%.
It's like a process of elimination for me, where the students have to go in, and you can't speak Wolof. You have to learn French. You have to be able to study for an exam, for Antricism, for BFM, for Bac, and if you don't have it, the dropout rates and everything. So it's a process of elimination. Programs that are like Sunu Thiossane is very rare and limited for public schools,
Yeah.
and for students to really have that type of access. So it's so important to have things like that, just to have like a social worker, or a
Yeah.
counselor, or a college advisor, someone who can really help you guide you towards a life path as a student is so important, because our education system in Senegal, it needs a lot of work. We
It
don't
does.
really learn too much about our history and our culture in our schools unless they go to university, and it's to a certain extent. So we have we just need to dismantle this French system.
Yeah, no, the Senegalese education system, it's the epitome of assimilation. They are giving them the whole structure is set up for a French person to navigate. There's no way you're telling me I'm Senegalese and my first day of school, you're teaching me math in French. What kind of sense does that make? And then number
Hmm.
two, the exams are prepped and prepared in France. They're for French students. So when it comes to the examinations, just the examples, the cultural context that's missing from that, you're expecting someone to understand different examples a part of an exam in a culture that they are not a part of. It's
Yep.
just, and you know what my biggest pet peeve is? Ñaari sénégalais yu nekk Sénégal ñu ngi ñëw di waxtaan au lieu que ñu waxtaan ci olof ñu ngi waxtaan ci français pour lan. Why?
Hmm.
And then it's like if you speak French, you're considered a professional. You have a more professional look. It's people want to come and talk to you more because Wolof is like downgraded compared to French. Da nga yëkkati français yi
Hmm.
wàcce sa culture for what? It just the whole system, Senegalese education system. I wrote 100-page thesis on this because they pissed me off, and I don't see a system where students are genuinely able to learn about their culture, their history, and make an impact with the way that they're doing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Have you seen like after they do like the BFM and Bak, and it's like
Everybody name on the board?
resulta, wow, exactement. And then you go, and then like it's
Yeah.
your family that's there, your friends and everything. It's nerve wracking, actually. I remember watching it, and I
It's
was just like, "What?"
traumatizing.
You see, dangay gis ay xale yu ndaw di lox.
Yeah,
Like, it's for me, I just feel like it's too nerve wracking for them at an early age for them to be going through this. In
yeah,
general, like, it's education.
yeah.
Why?
For the yeah, and for the people listening who don't understand what we're talking about, when you are in school, you have certain examinations, kind of like the regents in New York or SATs, ACTs, and
Hmm.
we get our examination results in private. When you are in Senegal, they post the people's names on the board in a public area in the middle of the school, and only those who have passed the exam. And you have to find out at the school on that board whether or not you passed. There's no
Or
other
the
way to
person,
do.
or they have someone read it and they
No
say your
way.
name. Hmm. And then people are just standing. I was like, I remember last year my sister went and, my God, I
It's
was so
traumatizing.
nervous for her. I was
Yeah,
so she like, I remember when they called her name and I was just like crying. I'm like,
yeah,
she has her BFM, and I was just like, I was so like proud of her, but I was so nervous. I couldn't even eat or anything. So imagine them taking
yeah,
these exams and stuff, and and getting nervous like that. It's
yeah.
a lot.
It's hard because I took that grad school entrance exam, the GRE. I took it twice. I failed miserably the first time. Like,
Mhm.
and I got my results in private. Monopited some again and applied again. But could you imagine? Like it's
It's
ridiculous.
not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. But okay, so I wanted to move on to the next segment. I hope. Do you have like 20 more minutes so we can finish out?
Yeah, yo,
Go
son,
ahead.
I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I'm chilling with you, Trondo. Y'all making a hum.
Your New York came out of you there.
You already know.
All right. So this is the fun section. This is just for us to have a conversation. It's called Make It Make Sense. And so this is a segment where we just talk about recent cultural news, just to pick your brain, and you can pass on the topic if you don't want to pass on it. But I do want to know, what are your thoughts on Kim and Kanye's feud when it comes to North's presence on social media? And I ask you specifically because she uses her social media for the arts and she's like dancing and doing whatever with her friends. But one parent agrees with that and one parent doesn't. And I want to know, what are your thoughts on it?
Everybody is and their mama is using social media. If she is expressing herself in art and everything, and I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
They are in the limelight because they're famous. And
Mm,
the North is she. I've seen some of her posts, and she seems like she's just a kid want to have fun,
right.
But it should be
She's a
censored.
personality.
Yeah, she is. It should be censored to a certain extent, but I don't mind.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I totally agree. But I do see like the flip side where Kanye didn't have the support for Kim when she wanted to help North with her social media, but Kim has been so supportive when Kanye put North in a song and like had her on stage and she's in front of all these people. So I'm just like, what's the problem? Or is it only a problem when it's convenient to you? I don't
It's
know.
probably because it's and it's a couple thing, It's
Hmm.
authority switch when it comes to dealing with children, and if you guys are not together and everything. So one of the parents always have to have a say so, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of like North,
I love her personality.
Yes, I seen this video where her father, Kanye brought her up on stage and she was going in. I was like, "Hi,
So
hi,
she was. When
youngin."
that song came out, I was at work. I was driving to work. I was like, "It's your bestie, Miss Westie." I'm like, "Mom Jada, you have lost your damn mind. You think you have to sit here and sing this little 9-year-old song?" And I was really, it was like stuck in my head. So that's how I know she has her own personality. I love that song. I hope that they let her be
Yeah,
her, but of course censoring it. So
of course, and especially with the world, what's going on right now.
mm.
More more to.
Yeah, but I understand him not wanting to like have her on social media because there's a lot of creeps on social media. Did you see how
Oh, so he doesn't want her on social media.
no, he doesn't want her on social media at all. He feels like having her on TikTok is exploiting her. And well, what he has said, this is what he has said, that having her on TikTok is basically exploiting their daughter. And he just feels like it's not a place for children, which I do agree with him when it comes to that part of TikTok doesn't necessarily do a good job of censoring children. And
Okay.
there's a lot of weirdos and pedos on social media. So I understand it and I get it. And but I also feel like you've put your daughter in the limelight so much that like where's the line? Where do you draw the line to?
Yeah, and you know what? Now thinking of it, they are. It should be censored to a certain extent because of
Mhm.
their status. I think it like when it comes to a regular young girl and everything, like it of course
Mhm.
definitely censored and everything, but they don't have the status that, North would have.
North.
So I think they need to be extra cautious on what she posted, like what she puts on social media. If she's
Yeah.
posting her and her friends singing and dancing, and so that's cute because everyone is doing that. But make
Yeah,
sure
you
she,
know, he doesn't want her on at all. And I agree with you. Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
everyone.
So yeah, it's interesting. But to each his own, your parenting skills are your parenting skills and I don't have children, so I mind my business.
Right,
Uh
me yeah, pray too one day. I think I'll
yeah,
be a mom. I
inshallah.
think I'll be a great mom as well.
You'll be an amazing mom.
Oh,
You love other people's children so much
I
and like
do.
yeah, I think you would love it.
I definitely do. Hopefully, I won't be too strict.
You know, my sister tells me all the time that first of all, I think I would be I'm a pushover. So when it comes to children, I don't have any I'm building boundaries with my niece and nephews, but I don't know how I'm gonna be with my children. Like, is it gonna be the same? Do people who usually are like pushovers as aunts, do they turn into like strict parents?
But children are really smart.
Yeah,
They will pick up on
yeah.
someone that is like, oh, do you're so cute. They will really take
Uh-huh.
advantage of their adorableness. I had to learn that real quick. With all these children that I feel like in my neighborhood they call me Bajinu Gokhbi, like I'm the
Yeah,
Bajin. So like I see them every day.
yeah.
I'm like, it's not gonna work. Shoot, yo, it's not gonna work,
Yeah,
girl.
no, it works on me every time, unfortunately. Okay. All right. So the last topic and make it make sense is about Monique, Tyler, and Oprah. I want to know your thoughts on that because it's been a very interesting cycle. I'm probably going to throw Taraji in there too. But I want to know your thoughts on this. It's definitely surrounding the arts. They are acting, and it's been a 10-year spectacle. And I want to know your thoughts on what do you think is the reason why Monique and Taraji maybe have been perceived differently, and what do you think about the whole situation in general?
Ooh. So I haven't like looked into it per se, but I've been like throughout the years been
Yeah.
hearing about the feud between Monique and Oprah, and
Mhm.
it's just it puts a bitter taste in my mouth when it comes to as Black women. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like it's so important for us to always support each other. And one thing about us African people, Black people, especially in Hollywood, I've
Yeah.
noticed that we don't stick together we don't stick together too much. It's always us bashing each other or fighting each other, and you know, it's tiring to see that. So the whole situation with Oprah and Monique, I wish they had ended that and did it that in private. Um,
Right.
uh,
Mm.
as Black women in Hollywood, it's not a lot of us. So representing, we should represent in solidarity. But I can understand
Mm.
the few that they're going in because being in Hollywood and getting these roles and everything, it's sometimes a slim to none chance, and
Right.
and having an empire. Oprah has an empire. Tyler
She does.
Perry empire. Monique has been in the game for a minute now. Taraji has been in the
Yeah.
game for a minute now. I think there should be a level of understanding and respect, and then everything else shouldn't be like really put out in the limelight. But everyone is entitled to their opinions and their feelings when it comes to these type of feuds.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
I
do
absolutely
say
agree.
yeah, but I do understand where Taraji is coming from when it comes to like, she's
The
been
pay and yeah.
she's been in the game for a minute. Like give her
Yeah.
her flowers, and in the form
Yeah.
of cash.
Right. In the form of cash.
Hello, or
No, I
whatever.
absolutely agree with you. No, I absolutely agree with you. I just think it's very interesting because I feel like Monique and Taraji were perceived totally differently, and like
Mhm.
Monique came in and dominated, and which wasn't wrong, and was like, "Pay me my just due," and Taraji came in very soft and feminine and said the same thing, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, Taraji, let's help our baby," but they didn't give Monique the same
Mm,
grace. They didn't
that's
give her the same grace.
That's interesting, but the stereotypes that they try to put us as Black people, angry Black woman, we want our this and that, and if she so her crying, people sympathize with Taraji even more, like her being what you call it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. They're both
Mm.
complaining about the same thing, they just do it differently. I'm
With
sorry. So it's looking.
no, you're good. You're
I'm
good.
like,
We're gonna take a lip gloss break because I need one too.
oh yes, yes.
You
I
want to
love,
grab
love
anything
your
you need?
makeup.
Oh, thank you, thank
So
you.
nice. I should have put
I've
on lip.
got it down to a 20-minute cycle.
Okay,
I be trying to. No, I'm talking about a makeup process.
you did. Oh, I wanna know your routine so I could what you call it because I be in.
Very basic.
Yeah, look, that
Eyeshadow,
is real nice.
foundation. Yeah. Oh, you just do that. I don't blame you. I used to
Yes.
do mine so close. I used to do my eyebrows up to here, and my sisters would call me and be like, "Take that photo down right now. That looks bad." You ever seen that video on social media where the girl was in the car and everybody in the car was like, "Your wig looks horrible. It's ugly." I gotta send that to you. That's
Send
my
that to
family.
me.
I
That's
have to send that to you. They like,
hilarious.
"You look a mess with that wig," and she's just like, "It's just voices coming from anywhere." That was my family. I used to have my makeup looking crazy. When I look back on the photos, I'm saying one. Every time I introduce this, I embarrass myself. Okay, let me get to my notes real quick.
Bana xaaral ba nga dégg ma rek dangay naan Cheikh Diarra kii lan lay wax nii baru ko ah.
One thing about it, I don't care. They be on TikTok like, so all of you bunny and Sunday and I was like, numako wahe non. I don't care. Whatever I said, that's how it is.
Ba dégg nga
No,
anglais bu baax ba dégg nga français bu baax ba dégg nga leneen gars yi dañuy Sénégal dañoo mën a saboté loolu mooy seen problème man
They
sama
are
yoon nekk
soft,
sama accent like dama am accent ndax te nin ma yaree la fii laa
right?
li ma jaar la loolu moo tax.
No, you mëne loolu. I be talking about politics. They over there like xonk ak olofam yu bon yi. Lii moo tax ñu leen di nax. Cause y'all worry about the wrong things. This is not what we supposed to be worried about. I'm
Akay
talking
dëgg
about y'all, them stealing y'all rights from you, and you over here talking about my wallet. We on two different topics. Soft ngeen.
trop
Anyway, soft way. Okay, so they can continue on. Welcome to Sama Xalaat mooy émission bu bokk ci Uncensored Journey podcast bu ñu waxtaan ci topic Senegal and mooy ay topic yoo xam ne nit ñi bëgg nañ ci waxtaan bëgg nañ ci wax seen xalaat so moo tax ñu commencé émission bi tey dañoo invité Mamedjarra Diop mooy founder of Sunu Thiossane and mooy programme boo xam ne dafa nekk Senegal pour élèves yi di leen jàngal arts, performing, the creativity, English, and anything to deal with youth development. So, Mamedjarra, maa ngi lay nuyu di la bàyyi nga nuyu Sénégalais yi.
ça va Sénégal na ngeen def merci pour jërëjëf jaajëfite pour invitation bi kontaan naa bu baax bëgg naa bu baax suñu cosaan lu tax ma tàmbali ko ndax dafa nekk li nga xamante ni affaire bi programme bi dafa méngoog sama destin ndax man sama yaay moo nekkoon noir américain african american sam papa nekk sénégalais après ñoom ñoo jëloon décision bi pour ñu yóbbu ma Sénégal donc Sénégal laa amee sama yaren ci kër gu mag donc loolu moo tax man ma xam naa am naa accent loolu yëpp ndax I'm from Brooklyn and also from Senegal
Me
mais
too.
jaar bu ma jaar moo tax maa ngi làkk wolof maa ngi débrouiller en wolof donc mais soo ma waxee kaay ma rey la xam naa bu baax te dinaa daw waaw wala ma rey la.
Yeah. Okay, so léegi balaa ñuy egg si suñu cosaan dama bëggoon xam sa expérience newoon nga ne sa yaay dafa màggee fi américain la black americain la mais dafa jàppe boppam africain la anyway and sa papa sénégalais lan moo nekkoon expérience boobu nga xam ne yaa ngi am yaay bu nekk américain ak papa bu nekk sénégalais.
Comme lu ma waxoon man sama yaay sama waajur bu jigéen
olof yaa ngi bëgg a xóot nag man sama olof
waajur bu jigéen loolu de la ñuy wax sama waajur bu jigéen africain américain la woon te sama papa waajur bu góor moo nekkoon sénégalais donc lu tax ma dégg wolof wolof dafa méngoog sama destin Sénégal laa njëkkoon a xam que lépp ndax ba ma amoon ñaar at la ma indi Sénégal ma nekk ci kër gu mag ak samay mbokk yi te boo xamee kër gu mag xam nga yarunu kër gu mag donc amoon nañ ay samay rak ak samay mag yi danoo sakku noonu nag nekk ci Pekin Daara Xuddoos donc Sénégal dafa nekk li nga xamante ni ci sama biir xol laa ko tuddee parce que bu dul woon temps bu ma nekkoon xale di jàng culture bi duma mel comme nu ma mel instant yi donc maa ngi sant yàlla ci loolu sama yaay même sax su nekkoon noir américain moom mentalité africaine la woon maanaam dafa doon dem Afrique di jàng culture bi te su ma waxee Afrique pas Sénégal kese mais demoon na Nigeria demoon na Ghana Égypte ak fu nekk pour mu xam Afrique ci boppam donc dafa bëggoon Cheikh Anta Diop dafa doon lire xam naa ni xawma ba xam est-ce que xam nga livre bi The Origin of Civilization livre mooy Cheikh Anta Diop Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop
I read his like articles yi mu bind the scholarly work mais book I need to read it.
am na ay book yu bari yi nga xamante ni dafay wax ci like the double theory the two-way theory xam ki nga doon lu tax wolof nekk làkk bi nga xamante ni lu tax mu xóot lu tax mu am solo fan la jógee ak loolu yëpp suñu maam yi avant colonisation ak loolu yëpp donc moom dafa nekk ki nga xamante ni scolaire la woon, scientiste la woon,
Mhm.
la woon. Donc dafa defoon lu bari ci sama àdduna ndax sama yaay moo yoroon livre am yu bari te ci loolu laa doon jàng. Donc
Mhm.
suñu waxee Sénégal duñu naan Sénégal parce que français yi ñoo naan Sénégal, mais avant Sénégal, avant Sénégambia, ñun ñëpp amoon na comme our ethnicity, wolof nga
Yeah.
woon
Wow.
wala séeréer wala loo dog nekkul woon li nga xamante ni soo nekkee Sénégal am nañ histoire Sénégal am nañ ko bien sûr,
Mhm.
mais am nañ ay histoire bi nga xamante ni suñu maamaate maamat yi ñooñu ko doon jàngal ak loolu yëpp. Donc man ci lool laa doon jàng. Donc dafa nekk li nga xamante ni dama koy tëbb ci sama biir xol. Suñu cosaan ci lool la tàmbalee, xam suñu maam yi, xam ñu ñooy kan, mais en même temps di ko boole ak éducation, di ko boole ak daara ak jàng ndax pour man xale yi ñoom ñoo ñuy jiite ëllëg. Donc
Yeah.
il faut ñu booloo, mais balaa ñu booloo il faut ñu xamante ci suñu biir, te bu ñu
Mhm.
xamante ci suñu biir dinañ gën a tax sax ñu mën a avancer, dinañ gën a tax ñu mën a góorgóorlu.
Mhm.
Ndax Afrique ci boppam mooy futur bi. Donc
Mhm.
pour ñu mën a xam loolu il faut ñu bañ a xeeb suñu bopp, il faut ñu gëstu bu baax ci lu ñu
Mhm.
doon ak
No, absolutely.
lu ñu mel parce que loolu moo fi am solo te pour def loolu liggéey la. Ndax bu ñu
Mhm.
amoon bu ñu après colonisation bu ñu amoon suñu indépendance ak loolu yëpp man lu ma sañoon suñu système éducation bi dañ ci waroon a gën a dugal wolof, am
Yeah.
ci histoire africain ak lépp pour xale yi ñu gën a
Mhm.
yeew, ñu gën a xam seen bopp ak
Mhm.
te ba léegi loolu lañ manqué, loolu moo amul ci école yi.
Yeah.
Donc
No, your education system be mom is like okay. Suñu coloniser yi biñ fi ñëwee liñ fi bàyyi mooy mentalité wu individualistic maanaam man kese la dañuy def competition te man loolu danga koy gis ci education system bi Cheikh Anta Diop amoon na benn theory bu mu doon wax ci colonization and assimilation basically naan du lépp li ànd ak colonization wala assimilation dafa bon da ngay jël li nga bëgg bàyyi li ci des mais sénégalais yi dañoo fàtte bàyyi li ci des you
Mhm,
know jëlal li
mhm,
nga bëgg like the innovation whatever new things they did yoo xam ne dinañ ci am njariñ mais
mhm,
mentalité biñ fi bàyyi moo metti ndax da ngay gis ne suñu education system bi noonu la affaire séparation maa gën kii maa gën kee en tax na ba ñu jël education system mu français yi ñëw def ko suñu bos lan mooy Sénégal laa may ñëw nga may jàngal mathématique ci français ku la wax ne damaa dégg français ak damaa war a dégg français it's just suñu système bi si boppam daa mel ni dañoo xeeb suñu bopp honestly.
mhm, mhm. Te man pour man aussi boo bëggee pour ñu gën a comprendre affaire bi
Mhm.
nekkul woon ci affaire yu système éducation bi kese. Lii lu
Mhm.
yàgg la. Ñun Afrique dafa nekk li nga xamante ni um, ay boroom doole lan. Waaw,
Mhm.
ñun ñëpp xam nañ lool mais ñun ñoo ko xamul suñu bopp. Donc nasaraan yi bu ñu woon commencé di ñëw du ñu bëgg coloniser ñëwuñu rek naan dañ lay coloniser déedéet defuñu lool de. Danoo amoon benn plan stratégiquement pour
Mhm.
yàkkal ñu. Est-ce que
Mhm.
comprendre nga? Dem
Mhm.
jaxase ñu ak suñu mbokk yi, jaxase
Mhm.
ñu suñu bopp, te man pour man mënuma wax nasaraan yi ñoo def lépp parce que ñun tamit am na lu ñu nangu.
am
te
nañ
il faut
fot
jël responsabilité boobu parce que tant que jëluñu lool dafay difficile pour ñu dina xaw a metti pour ñu
yeah
avancer, pour ñu mën a gën a góorgóorlu. Il faut ñu gëstu bu baax ñun tamit am nañ ci partie lu ñu def.
yeah
Donc
lu
man
ñu
li
def te ñu ngi koy continuer.
ñoo ngi koy continuer bien sûr gis nga ko um, te lu ma gën a metti mooy xawma lañ koy waxee ci wolof but history is bound to repeat itself maanaam
yeah
nga xamoon dina ñëwaat day ñëwaat tant que ñun jànguñu tant que ñun xooluñu lu ñu defoon suñu maam yi
Mhm.
temps esclave ak loolu yëpp xam nga amoon
Mhm.
nañ ñu bari te histoire yi sax duñ ko wax duñ ko wane sax que amoon nañ ñi nga xamante ne doon xeex dañuy naan déedéet ñun duñu ay jaam ay nit lan yaa ngi may
Mhm.
dégg mais
Mhm.
gars yi duñu wax ci histoire boobu loolu moo tax ci diaspora yi ñun dañoo séparé parce que am na lu bari lu rax am na lu bari li nga xamante ni
Mm.
xamuñu ko xamuñu ko ci suñu biir donc il faut que ñu juboo il faut que ñun ñëpp ñu xamante ci suñu biir ñu xam suñu histoire bu baax
Mhm.
waruñu naan ok loolu dafa passé amatul ak loolu yëpp mais moo ngi am ba
Ba
léegi
léegi.
beneen
Yeah.
façon donc
Mhm.
tant que jëluñu suñu tout tànk yi suñu jeunes yi ak jeunesse yi suñu xale yi di leen jàngal di leen
Histoire.
waaw après
Mhm.
en même temps pour ñoom ñu gën a xam seen bopp donc suñ ko deful it's gonna be on us ci ñun na ba
Yeah.
léegi donc loolu moo war a changer
Yeah,
système
no, ñu ci
éducation dañ ko war a changer bu baax pour
yeah.
mën a jàppale suñu bopp parce que mënuñu jàng ay affaire tubaab ak am affaire européen te ñu ñoo ngi Afrique nañ waxante dëgg
No, yeah. Loolu
mënul
te
nekk
li nga wax dafa am solo because yaa ngi naan temps bi ñu doon def slavery daa am ñu nekkoon naan man duma jaam mais tubaab yi dañoo def ba ñu convince ki nga xam ne moom tamit tegul boppam jaam mais dina jaay moromam. So jaayante bi si ñun la commencé woon ñun ñoo ngi naan waaw kii whatever nekkul man soo mën naa ko jaay mais système boobu dafa continuer ndax boo xoolee léegi dañuy naan kii géwël la kii tëgg la kii séeréer la so yow yaa ba léegi ñu ngi jéem a lijjanti kan si suñu morom yi mooy jaam bi like who am I better than yow man maa la gën and all of that dafa continuer coloniser yi moo ko dugal suñu xel ñu continuer ko te loolu du yoon that just is daf may merloo sax man su ma siy waxtaan daf may merloo because da ngay gis ay éléments yoo xam ne dafa bokkoon ci history mais comme jàngaluñu nit ñi history wala comprendre ñu 100% nu ñu def ba egg foofu dañ koy répéter rek constantly ñu koy répéter so
loolu moo tax affaire bi xaw ma touché na ma bu baax métti na ma mais en même temps ci suñu histoire la bokk man maa ngi fàttali ko xaw ma ba xam est-ce que xam nga kii mooy Godfather mooy marraine
mm,
cinematography in
yeah
Africa Ousmane Sembène right
yeah
amoon na filmam bu tudd Ceddo film bi nga xamante ni dañ doon wax ci avant colonisation yi ak bu
mm,
islam duggoon ci biir Sénégal
mhm,
ak buur yi ak loolu yëpp ak tubaab yi buñ doon ñëw ak loolu mais histoire bu am solo la parce que Ceddo
mhm,
is like an animistic culture like spirituality and everything uh
mm,
or the Arabics came and was like, you know what, you need to, you don't believe in God, so this is
yeah
what this is Islam and everything. Which the story and the narration, the connect li nga xamante ni it's am na lu des pour
mhm,
wax dëgg parce que soo déggee ay Sénégalais ngay waxtaan ak ñoom da ngay naan da ngay laajte ba xam est-ce que xam nga ceddo wala xam nga avant loolu te duñ la wax dara parfois am na ñu bari duñ ci wax. Mais ñun amoon nañ histoire amoon nañ ay buur amoon nañ ay maam amoon nañ ay lu baax avant tubaab yi ñëw wala islam avant mu ñëwoon ak loolu yëpp donc munoo jékki-jékki rek nga ñëw nga nekk beneen xeet nga naan yow li nga doon def baaxul wala yow li nga doon gëm baaxul te ñun ñu accepté lool donc am na
yeah
yu bari yoo xamante ni ñun duma naan ñun africain yi baax na ci ñun ak loolu yëpp mais dañ ci war a gën a góorgóorlu maanaam gëstu bu baax ñu xam
yeah
suñu histoire ñu parce que instant yi affaire bi moo ngi amaat xoolal chinois yi ñoo
mm,
ngi ñëw suñu dëkk
mhm,
te ñoom tubaab yi
mm,
depuis like centuries dañu doon testé di bindi seen plan di bindi seen livre yi ak seen cahier di dem seen dëkk di
mhm,
naan xoolal nit ñu ñuul yi lu ñu mel ay golo la nekk lu kenn xamul ak tout ça jël suñu
mhm,
histoire yi di ko sàcc di dem seen dëkk di ko jël lu nekk lañ doon def après bu ñu ñëwee ñu kontaan si ñun di sourire ak loolu yëpp te ñun dañoo xaw a bàyyi suñu loxo ci loolu.
Mhm. ma ma
mooy
laaj la comme wax nga ne dafa am ay livres yu bëri yoo xam ne day wax ci Sénégal nu mu meloon avant colonisation man si la ma jàng mooy len loo xam ne ma jàng loo xam ne daf ma choqué Sénégal avant colonisé tubaab yi ñoo indi di jàngal ku góor ke ku jigéen ñi separate avant dañ doon jàngal jigéen ñi ak góor ñi together mais bi tubaab yi ñëwee dañu ne déedéet nañ séparé góor yi ndax this is the école bi was dañ ko tuddee woon chiefs sons of chiefs maanaam ñi nga xam ne sa papa dafa amoon tour ci société bi dañuy jël góor yi jàngal leen pour ñu doon a French boy ñu jël jigéen ñi jàngal leen nu ñuy doone jabaru a French boy that was basically the analogy so ma xam dama la bëgg a laaj mooy lan mooy leen loo xam ne da nga jàng moo nekkoon Sénégal avant colonisation loo xam ne it shocked you wala something that happened during colonization.
Okay, so it's a really good question actually.
Mhm.
When it comes to before colonization, for me, what I've learned is
Mhm.
just the family structure, like
Okay.
in, like polygamous, and having like a that type of family and what it meant to be a polygamous, before even Islam coming into the factor, why it was so important to have a family oriented community, like the husband and the three to four wives, and why it's important, like everyone had their task, had their delegation to do so that they can
Mm.
bring the family to Lord the nekkoon li nga xamante ni loolu avant colonisation la woon, avant islam la woon ak loolu yëpp te loolu
Really?
waaw surtout famille boobu dafa nekkoon li nga xamante ni lu am solo la parce que dafa doon jàppale xale yi ak mbokk yi ci biir famille bi donc ku nekk amoon
Okay.
na sa taas ku nekk amoon na li nga waroon a def ci biir kër gi ak ci biti ak loolu yëpp te loolu moo nekkoon benn mbooloo bi nga xamante ni ci yar foofu la tàmbalee xam nga teggin ak kersa ak lépp li nga xamante ni mooy attribute wolof yi foofu la commencé ci biir famille ak naka ngay defee pour nga jàppale say mbokk ngeen nekk famille bu jub nga nekk
Mm.
famille bu baax ak loolu yëpp donc amoon na ay ay
Kon
way
avant colonisation avant islam pour nga am góor gu am jabar yu bari wala ñetti jabar ñaari jabar loolu dafa ñëwoon avant colonisation ak islam man xaw ma woon loolu I
waaw
didn't know that.
waaw waaw waaw
I know
waaw
it's cultural xam naa ne comme nigérien yi am nañ ko mais xaw ma woon ne man dama yaakaaroon ne islam moo indi loolu Sénégal.
non loolu Afrique loolu yàgg na ko am sax même sax soo
Mhm.
déggoon livre Cheikh Anta Diop wala livre histoire Iyakay Arma ak ay ñi nga xamante ni ay African luminaries
Mhm.
scholars dañ doon
Yeah.
wax ci family structure, and even
Mm.
in Egypt in Kemet, when they talked about the family, the orientation of the family and how important it was to have that type of community. So pour man
Mm.
loolu dafa nekkoon li nga xamante ni yàgg na ci ñun ay doomi yàlla lan nekk ñu li nga xamante ni tubaab yi suñu ñëwee ak arab yi ñu ñëwee ñoom ñoo ñu sauvé ak loolu yëpp déedéet ñun dañ doon dundu avant te dañ doon jaamu yàlla tamit avant donc loolu
Mhm.
moo nekk benn misperception que gars yi di xam foog na ñun xamuñu woon dara te loolu nekkul woon dëgg.
Mm. Damay dégg
waaw
ñuy wax mooy Sénégal avant islam like amuñu woon like a religion te ba pare dañ doon like naan di gamble and all this stuff and islam moo ñëw indi structure Sénégal so
Mm,
I haven't verified that yet so it's probably true I don't know.
to me it's not true loolu
It's not.
nekkul dëgg mënul nekk dëgg ñun yàlla moo ñu defar nañu waxante dëgg suñu
Mhm.
fekkin dañuy waxtaan bu baax
Mhm.
nit bu ñuul avant ñoom arab yi ñëw wala tubaab yi ñëw ak loolu yëpp pour ñun dañ doon def lu bon
Yeah.
like
Loolu
loolu
lañ doon loolu la ñuy wax
common sense la parce que gars yi duñu xalaat bu baax te duñu gëstu loolu mooy lënt bu ñu am ak suñu biir dañuy déglu lu nit ñi di wax ak loolu yëpp mais nekkul li nga xamante ni danga
mooy dëgg.
mooy dëgg parce que am
Mhm.
na dëgg am na fen am na gars yi di wax ay affaire li nga xamante ni n'importe quoi la donc bu ñu toogee ba xalaat bu baax kon
Mhm.
avant tubaab yi avant naar yi ak loolu yëpp ñoo bonoon doon def lu nekk ak loolu yëpp te am na ci am na ci dëgg mais
nekkul woon
dëkk
en général.
bien sûr te parce que dëkk bu nekk nekkul woon ñun am na ñu baax am na ñu bon am na ñu jàmm yàlla am na ñi nga xamante ne duñu jàmm yàlla am na
Yeah.
loolu yëpp te avant tubaab yi nekkul woon di ñëw duñu sauver parce que su fekkee dañu doon sauver kon duñu am esclavage ñu am colonisation ak loolu yëpp you know what
Mm.
I'm saying so nekkul li nga
Yeah.
xam ñoom ñoo doon ñëw naan il faut ñu jàppale leen ak loolu yëpp déedéet avant colonisation nit ñu ñuul yi Afrique dafa nekkoon benn global arena bu mag gaa yi ñoo doon ñëw tubaab yi ak chinois yeeg ñoom ñëpp ñoo doon ñëw ci ñun di jaay te doon par force doon jàng suñu làkk pour ñoom ñu mën a trade ak ñun pour ñoom ñu
Yeah,
mën a
def exchange.
affaire ak loolu yëpp te pendant temps yooyu ñoom dañ doon ñëw dañuy jàng ñun ñoo
Mm.
bàyyi suñu loxo rek mais dañ
ñoo
doon
bàyyi suñu loxo.
waaw ñoo bàyyi suñu loxo ak
situation yu bari ñun ñoo bàyyi suñu loxo ndax boo gisee léegi dëkku Sénégal yi dëkku Sénégal dëkku Afrique yi di ñëw dafa mel ni dañuy def seen revolution. I mean man dama ci kontaan am na ñoo xam ne kontaan nañu ci ñi nga xaaral ma make it clear si li ma kontaan dama kontaan ci dëkku Afrique yi nga xam ne dañoo génn ne ñun dañoo sonn ci France wala dañoo sonn ci UK wala ak England ku ci nekk ku génn ne yow amatoo fi droit génn nañ la ci dëkk bi bu fekkee da nga nekk président boo xam ne like you know whatever you're not doing it da ngay dem because dañuy indiwaat seeni resource indiwaat seeni culture and I feel like that's the part of like preserving the culture xam nu mu koy wax ci olof mais nga continuer di jàngal sa xale yi culture bi te nga bàyyi français yi ñuy ñëw di yàq xelu xale yi ndax honestly man loolu dama ko xawoon a gëm ba nga wax ma ko tey maa ngi naan oh maybe Sénégal dañ doon def lu bon avant ñuy xam islam mais I didn't connect it that what they're basically telling us is comme tubaab yi comme tubaab yi ñoo ñëw and become our savior and I just like went along with it. I was like that makes sense but no loolu make sense.
it doesn't make sense te suñu toogee ba gëstu bu baax parce que affaire colonisation moo ngi ci ñun ba léegi xoolal dëkk bi lu mu mel
Yeah.
imaginel 1960 ñëw imaginel ñoo ngi ci 1960 yaa ngi yaa ngi may dégg ñu naan Sénégal dafay am seen indépendance ëllëg ñu defar benn plan stratégiquement pour ñu commencer lu ñu jàngal suñu xale yi suñu doom yi pour ëllëg ñoom danoo jël ay affaire français ak seen histoire ak loolu yëpp dugal ko ci suñu système ndax pendant colonisation gars yi sénégalais yi ñun dafa difficile woon pour ñu jàng
Yeah.
tubaab yi ñoo doon ñëw français yi di indi seen système maanaam seen manufactures ak loolu yëpp donc ñoom dañ doon indi seen affaire ci biir dañ doon indi seen like merchandise and everything te ñun we didn't learn it jànguñu ko en fait donc pendant ay 2 ans 200 années danoo nekk li nga xamante ni we were studied ak lépp lu ñu waroon a jàng lépp lu ñu war a xam donc bu affaire indépendance ñëw pour ñu mën a jël lu ñu moom wala lu ñu xam ak loolu yëpp dafay nekk difficile donc danoo jël lu gën a yomb mooy système français yi pour ñu teg ko ci suñu système éducation bi te loolu moo ñu xaw a tardeel yàq ñu
te li ma bëggoon wax tamit mooy bu ma doon xool si suñu cosaan ma gis ni yéen da ngeen a am ay professionnel yoo xam ne dañ fa nekk pour you know mooy waxee well being pour xool ci mentalu élèves yi xool ci seen psychological state xool ba xam élèves yi ñi ngi am jàmm mentally te man loolu gisuma ko ci education system u Sénégal ma bëgg xam what was the reason why and what is the impact pour nga am kenn professionnel boo xam ne moom liggéeyam kese ci école bi mooy pour xool ba xam élève baa ngi ci jàmm wala am nañ lu am na est-ce que élève bi am na lu mu soxla loo xam ne nañ ko ci jàppale lan lan nga yaakaar mooy bénéfice am nit ku mel noonu ci école yi.
parce que loolu moo war a am pour wax la dëgg lu tax mu war a am ndax xale lay doon mais boo ko jaaralee ci yoon nga koy jàppale parce que ñun on sait jamais xale yi am nañ ay xale ñi nga xamante ni ñoo ngi ci ay situation yu metti ñoo ngi ci situation yu différent donc bu ñu ñëwee ci programme bi il faut ñu waxtaan ak ñoom il faut ñu nekk ak ñoom ñu xool mentalement seen bopp yi fan la nekk ak loolu yëpp te du question ne ñoom amuñu yar seen kër wala affaire yooyu mais am na ñu nga xamante ñu bari seen situation demewul noonu am na ñi nga xamante ni seen situation yi noonu lay demee parce que ñu nekk ñu fii di jàng xale ñi nga xamante ne amuñu moyen kese mais am nañ ay xale ñi nga xamante ne seen parents yi am nañ doole donc ay xale bu nekk moo ñëw di dugg suñu ci biir suñu cosaan mais lu tax mu important pour ñu am kenn ki nga xamante ne dafay def yoga wala méditation ak loolu parce que dañ ko soxla ñun ay nitu spirituel lañ ay doomu yàlla lañ parfois àdduna day métti waxatuma xale bu ndaw te mënul xamul fan lay féete su fekk ne moo ngi ci benn situation ak loolu yëpp donc pour jàppale xale yi pour jàppale leen pour xam leen pour waxtaan ak ñoom il faut nga def benn genre système in place bi nga xamante ni ñoom dafay dañuy nekk à l'aise pour wax ak yow parce que affaire bi gëm-gëm la mais wóoluwante la est-ce que comprendre nga fu may waxee loolu moo tax suñu defee suñu cosaan balaa ñu commencé dara dañuy bëgg a def yoga ñu def méditation ba xel ñu dugg ci seen biir yaram ñu xalaat ak loolu yëpp parce que loolu dafa am solo te kaay ma wax la lii lu africain la waaw méditation ak loolu yëpp ñun ñoo we're spiritual people we pass all of some of these things that's internally pour suñu bopp ñu ñoo ko téye ñu ñoo ko génn ñu ñoo ko defar waaw gars yi dañu xeeb rek mais ñun ak ñu am pouvoir dañ waxante dëgg
gars yi dañu xeeb mais ñun tamit dañoo xeeb suñu bopp ndax man su may xalaat lu tax ma bëggoon highlight loolu nag su may xalaat éducation système Sénégal damay gis ne ñoom seen système bi ñu ngi koy defee dafay traumatiser xale yi like da leen di jox trauma ñu leen di comme waxoon nga ci BFM wala seen examen yi buñ leen di présenter seen examen yi you know ni ñu koy présenter loolu rek is a trauma te dafa mel ni education system bi nekkul pour jàppale xale yi seen mental is like dañoo bëgg ñu jàngale yi jàng dem seen yoon mais après what value what development did they do you know
it's so right you hit it in the nail te loolu moo tax loolu dafa am solo xale yi da nga gis changement bu bari ci ñoom da ngay commencer ak ñoom première kii ci année bi commencement année bi après dañuy timide duñu wax ak loolu yëpp mais boo commencé nga nekk ak ñoom xam nga toujours te ñun dañoo am ay professionnels ay prof yi nga xamante ni dañuy jàng histoire africain ay their historians am na ñuy def yoga am na ñuy def art plastique danse théâtre anglais lépp tamit di leen jàppale ci seen yoonu éducation su fekk ne noo bëgg dem bitim réew pour jàng ak loolu yëpp lu ñu bëgg dañuy def tout pour jàppale leen pour ñu am qualité bi ñu am qualité boobu pour jàppale leen ñu am ressource bi loolu moo fi am solo rek ak xale yi waaw donc mental health bi daf ci am solo bu baax parce que xoolal dëkk bi xoolal monde bi il faut ñu am loolu xale yi parce que dafa mel ni ko ñoo ngi ci jamono ñoo ngi toll ci benn jamono bi nga xamante ni gars yi ñoo ngi fàtte lu xale yi di soxla wala lu jeunesse yi di soxla xoolal Sénégal lan mooy futur xale yi lan lañ war a def kan moo jàppale xale yi like parce que ku nekk
I don't know what's going on with these like the reason why ma bëggoon la indi ci plateforme bi pour number one pour ma jox la sa flowers because yaa ngi def dara loo xam ne nit ñi defuñu ko and li ma gën a neex ci suñu cosaan is the focus on arts te li bëggoon naa la ko laaj earlier dama ko fàtte woon mais en général li ngay dégg ci famille africain yi mooy sama doom bi dafa war a nekk docteur sama doom bi dafa war a nekk avocat sama doom bi dafa war a mooy liggéey yi nga xam ne du def a lot of creativity of course intellectual mais creativity bi nekku fa te ba pare boo bëggee wax ni lii laa bëgg def dañ leen naan loolu moom wóorul mais su may xalaat nit ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi am impact ci Senegal seen creativity bi moo leen ko may suñu artistes yi comme Youssou Viviane Wally wala even the ones doing cinema with Sanekh or the social media like Silla or Fa Aidara Dudu there's just it's the creativity bi moo leen may position boo xam ne mën nañ you know mën nañ jàppale seen famille continuer li ñuy def so I want to know lan mooy sa experience di jéem a develop art program Senegal and do you think loolu war nañ ko def ci école yi ak famille yi ñu continuer like di leen di give them encouragement pour ñu jël field yooyu jël route yooyu
man pour man art ñëpp ñoo ko soxla même sax the best doctor is an artist su fekk ne day dugg ci biir salle opération ak loolu yëpp lu muy xalaat ak lu mu war a def ak loolu créative la waaw xam naa ni am na yoon ak loolu yëpp mais am na lu muy daggate affaire yi am na lu muy def utensils ak loolu yëpp lu nekk ci àdduna art la parce que yàlla ci mooy artiste moom moo ñu defar donc balaa ñu naan bëgguma aar wala lii ak loolu yëpp du dëgg parce que ñun suñu àdduna ci bopp mooy aar lépp aar la ci man noonu naa ko gisee man am probably because I'm wired differently li ma xalaatee moo xaw a différent mais man loolu laa ko il faut que aar exactement aar dafa nekk li nga xamante ne pour man mooy base lu bari moo tax nga gën a express yourself moo tax nga gën a ubbeeku parce que aar dafa nekk li nga xamante ni amul règle amul limite ak sa imagination ak li ngay xalaat ak li nga bëgg a defar li nga bëgg créer yàlla mooy may doomu àddina bi nga benn affaire bi nga xamante ni ñu kenn amu ko mooy xel bi nga xamante ni mën nga ci xalaat pour créer dara alhamdulilah loolu am na loolu aar la aar waruñu ko bañ wala waruñu ko xeeb te vraiment ci ñun la ci ñu ñuul yi man dama ñu I love us dama ñu bëgg même sax su fekkee ni gëmuñu suñu bopp man dinaa la gëmal loolu awma ci benn problème parce que man xam naa ni ñun dañoo extraordinaire gëmee comme lu ma waxoon suñ ci gastuwee bu baax man xam naa ni dinañ mën a dem ci kanam man am naa vision boobu am naa yaakaar boobu même sax suñu fii di découragé te pour man aar dafa nekk li nga xamante ni bu gaa yi gën a ubbeeku tuuti ci fii ñu xaw a am xelu ouvert loolu moo tax suñu cosaan tàmbale ndax xale yi dañoo war a am benn ressource bi nga xamante ni dinañ mën a am imagination ñu am critical thinking ñu xalaat ak loolu yëpp parce que loolu suñ ko defee ak lu ñu mënta doon bu ñu bëggee nekk docteur fecckat avocat rek lu nekk buñ ci dugalee art buñ ci tàmbaleeg art bu ñu nekkoon xale dinañ gën a nekk lu extraordinaire te man loolu sincèrement gëm naa ko
no absolutely léegi bu fekkee daa am parent buy seetaan wala kenn ci famille buy seetaan boo xam ne dafa bëgg doomam bokk ci suñu cosaan lan la war a def
am nañ website www.sunuthiossane.org boo bëggee register am nañ Saturday programme am nañ programme anglais am nañ aussi échange culturel am nañ colonie de vacances ak loolu yëpp su fekkee da ngeen soxla beneen information ci suñu cosaan da ngay dem suñu site am nañ benn documentaire bu génn bu ñu defar bi nga xamante ni gagné nañ ay prix kontaan nañ ci trop ci ay film festival donc loolu tamit dinañ ko teg ci suñu website soon inshallah
amazing so bu fekkee da ngay déglu podcast bi dinaa dugal link bi ci description bi. If you're watching on YouTube tamit xoolal description bi di nga am link ci seen website ak seen any social medias. But thank you so much. Léegi balaa ñuy pere sama xalaat bu fekkee daa am conseil boo bëgg a jox kenn ko xam ne dafa bëgg a jël the same path yoon bi nga jël lan mooy sa conseil ci moom.
def ko nekkal ci sa yoon. nekk ci sa yoon boo amee benn vision benn gëm-gëm dangay dem ba sës ak lu mu métti métti gaay di nga am ay noon danga am ñu lay nee danga am ñuy wax ak loolu yëpp mais dangay dem parce que su fekk ni gis nga ko te xalaat nga ko dangay dem ba sës te gëmal sa bopp gëmal ki nga doon li nga war a def ci àdduna bi ndax loolu soo ko defee doo am ay lënt bu baax doo dugg ci ay tolof yu bari te lool du ci ñàkk dina am mais da ngay gëm sa bopp rek dangay dem même sax gars yi suñu la tagee wala wéroo ak loolu yëpp tu t'en fous dafa nekk sa bopp li nga xamante ni vision bu baax la te yoon bu jub la dangay dem ba sës ak lu mu métti métti danga dem.
No, thank you so much. That's really great advice. So thank you for yes, thank you for sharing so much about that. Ndax yaakaar naa ne Sénégalais loolu dinañ ci am solo jàngal nga ñu lu bari ci suñu 15-minute discussion loo xam ne man sax xaw ma ko woon ci history Sénégal. So I appreciate you for that for sure.
pour yow soxna jaara nga tudd waaw.
Soxna jaara
waaw jaara buso baale. loo bëgg rek may naan amiin dina am ndax maam jaara nga tudd maam jaara dafa am solo de bebo
no maam jaara yi kay we kings we not even queens.
That's right jigéen lu mën góor lan man waxante dëgg okay dëgg. It was such a pleasure.
tax ba nit ñi mer nag ñi nga xam ne tudd maam jaara.
Wow, don't be jealous. I don't think people will be jealous if your name is not Mamjara. You know, Mamjara is too amazing for people to be jealous. You know.
Okay, so we're gonna go into stimulate your mind segment, and that's where we just play 2 games before we wrap up. So the first game, it's called Pick One, and that is where I will say the name of a celebrity, and then you can let me know the first word that comes to mind when you think of them. You can decide to elaborate and say why, or just not elaborate. Okay?
Okay. All right. This is fun.
Yes. Okay. So the first person I will I'm thinking of Wendy Williams. Funny. Okay. No, she is. And Wally Seck.
Wani.
I
love you, fan. I love you, Sunu.
You love you, Sunu?
I love you, Sunu.
I'm a John Sector fan. I love you, Sunu too, but just John is just you know.
Mashallah. Yàlla na ko yàlla yërëm taxaaru ko àjjana moom ak soxnam.
Okay, and so all right, you say Wally Wani, but you just have to. Vivian, is there a reason why you say Wally Wani? Well, you don't have to elaborate.
I don't know. I don't know. He's not my cup of tea, you know.
No? People love him. I totally get it.
I love me some Yusuf. You said Vivian?
Yes, Vivian.
Jonge?
Yeah, that Jonge it.
Wow. Very class. Come on, Aja, Mom, I love that. She's just like living her life.
Yeah. Come on, Aja Vivian,
she's timeless. Like, you know, she's living in that mentality. Me too. Like people are older. I'm like, I'm 12.
Yeah. Well, you look young. You do look young. And I think your skin, oh, thank you. But your skin is just so beautiful that you really can't tell how old you are, how young you are. I think you fit in with, well, no, you don't fit in older, but you definitely, I think, like late teens, early 20s, you could pass for that.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's a fountain of youth that I've been drinking. It's hereditary. It's I got it from my father. So
Your,
he
your father.
been drinking that all his life. So I think he passed it on to us.
Tell him to pass it on to me too. I might need some help. So,
I think you naturally have it too.
oh,
You
thanks.
still you look like you are in your teens too. It's
What?
I guess the glow and the innocence in your face.
Sama laki yi.
Dafa mignon laa la wax. Masha Allah.
Lekk
Yàlla bu
rek
la
laa fi nekkee. Wala
mais man.
lekk rek laa fi nekkee. Sama cookies yaa ngi nii su may pare de eggale cookies yi.
Man waaw waaw. I love
Ni mu
chestnut man
safee.
Milano bi moo ma neex. Xam nga Milano bi. Wala
Ñu
Genever
la ah,
bu am kii bi nu mu
moo
tudd
may
like
rey.
waaw.
Oh,
Wala su ma paree
docteur yi dañ may naan da ngaa war a bet waa da nga man cookies yi
loolu wax
mooy
fan
sama
de
problème.
loolu lan may wax.
ñu sant Njaay yi nag luñ leen di xasee.
Njaaye ñoom dañoo arrogant xam nga ñoom ay génde lan.
Ah, arrogant wu ñu nag.
Yéen nag ñun xanaa dañoo am ay fiw de jóobu juba yi ak njaaye yi.
We got a feud.
Yeah,
We got beef.
we have history beef. The Jobs and the
What?
Njaay.
Well,
Yeah.
xaara expliqué ma ko Njaayeen yi ak Jóobeen yi dañoo am beef lu xew.
waaw parce que Dakaru Njaay dañoo foog ne njaayeen yi moom yëpp ci Dakar wala moom yëpp ci Sénégal mais nan waxante dëgg jóob yi ñoo fi njëkk a ñëw ndax suñu maam yi la joor la téer ngoone faal la santoon mais dafa changé santam mu sant Jóob ndax Jóob dafa nekkoon li nga xamante nu jub la njaayeen yi commencé di mer ak kii nu mu tudd buur bi nu mu
Ah,
tudd la santoon waaw dëgg la yéen kay
mais Sénégal Njaay la sant.
waa
Sénégal Njaay la sant ji.
Dakar moo sant Njaay Sénégal Jóob la sant Sénégal Jóob
mooy yéen mosoo ko dégg Sénégal Njaay Gaynde Njaay Sénégal Njaay la sant loolu nag may ñu ko nag
yooyu
may
bul
ñu
ma
ko
gàcce
may ñu
ma
ko.
tundoo oui
man damaa yëgul woon xuloo bi mais biñ ma expliqué xuloo bi ma ne la that makes sense Sénégal Njaay la
xuloo bi am na de xuloo dafa yàgg rek dañuy xaxalante loolu rek moo am dañuy xaxalante
sant Sénégal
non
moo
man
mel noonu.
kontaan naa
That's hilarious. All right. So, I didn't even get to the last person. Then we'll move on to the next game. So the last person
okay
was Beyonce.
oh blessed I love
Yes.
Beyonce
I missed the concert. I'm so mad.
me too this year I wanted to go so bad but xam
She's
nga rek
beautiful. That's the definition of an entrepreneur. She's balancing it with motherhood. So yeah.
yep
All right. So the next one, we're gonna play a card game. I'm gonna pick a question. This is a part of the wrap up. So I pick a question, shuffle up the game, pick a question, and then we can both answer it. You can go first.
okay
The question is, what would be your response to someone telling you I love you when you don't love them back?
that's so sweet oh
Oh, I said
I
thank
don't want to
you.
hurt their feelings. Thank you. You say thank you?
That's what I said. I just said thank you.
Yeah, I would say thank you too, but I would be like, oh, you're so sweet. Oh.
But it don't sound, you don't say, so you don't say it back if you
If
don't
you
mean it.
don't love them, but you know what? I tell everyone that I love them because I was taught to
Yeah,
I was taught to say I love you to people because
right.
yeah
You never
yes
know. Right. What'd you say?
no my sister was like she tells everyone she loves because we love people. We were raised
Right.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never actually, you know what? To think of it, I never told. If someone told me I love you, I say I love you back.
Love you back. Okay. All right. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull one more. I did one more. I pulled out two. So
Okay.
the next one is your biggest pet peeve during an argument.
Getting cut off.
Getting cut
If
off?
I'm talking and then I'm like cut off. I'm like like if I'm having an argument and we're having an argument together and I'm saying my piece and you cut me off, that's my
Yeah.
pet peeve. I'll be like.
No, I totally get that. Because why are you cutting me off and I let you talk? That was my turn.
Right? Right? Shoot.
Oh my gosh. I think my biggest pet peeve is, oh my god, I'm trying. This thing bringing me back when somebody when you argue with somebody, you clearly making a point, and they start deflecting, and then they're like, I don't know. It's like the way they question you, like, so I never did anything for, or just like deflecting and using these like narcissistic points of view. And I used to be such a big empath. I used to be like, well, no, I don't. No, I wasn't. No, now I'm like, yep, that's what I said.
Hmm.
I don't like people
Hmm.
that try to use like the reverse psychology on you when they know you're right, you know? Like,
And when they use a reverse psychology, it's such a they normalized it to the to a point where it's normal for them. Like
yeah,
they automatically do it. Like it's a. It, I don't like that either. I don't like you trying to make me
mhm,
feel guilty or anything. That's the
yeah,
worst.
yeah. Oh my gosh, it was such a pleasure to have you on the platform. I really enjoyed our conversation. I laughed so much. I'm over here like my cheeks kind of hurting a little.
Oh, my cheeks too. It was a pleasure. You are amazing. You
Oh,
continue
thank
that you're
you.
doing. I can't wait to be invited as a guest when you have your own talk show in Hollywood and
Oh,
everything, you know, and you can
I mean,
bring in my private jet and stuff, you know. I
inshallah.
envision all of that, inshallah,
Oh,
so I can see it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But I really appreciate it. And I want to take this time to absolutely give you your flowers. I love everything that you're doing.
thank
I
you.
I think it's important to celebrate our people while we're here, not when, when we think it's best for us. And I want you to know that you are making an impact in the world. I love, love, love how you are putting your money where your mouth is, and you're making sure that youth understand their value, understand mental and social well being, and really speaking and encouraging them to be them. So I love what you're doing, and I hope you never stop. I hope you continue. I wish you
I
so much
mean,
success. Yes, and I know for sure Sunu Thiossane is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger than life. Right, you all. I'm going to go ahead and close out the show. Thank you so so much for joining. I really appreciated our conversation, and Mam Jada is just a pillar of support, a pillar of just so much wisdom, and that's why I wanted her on the platform, because she's really able to dissect the topics that impact our youth in Senegal. Not only does she talk the talk, but she walks the walk. She has an amazing youth organization that focuses on enhancing the education, enhancing the person, enhancing the character. It goes beyond education, for it's a very innovative approach to after school programs, and I would love for anyone who is in Senegal, or anyone who's thinking of investing, or anyone who just wants to be a part of that growth, to go to sunujosan.org and leave your impact there. Reach out to them, see how you can partner with them, because they are absolutely an amazing resource for our Senegalese youth. And I want to make sure that we're all a part of their growth. So thank you all for joining, highlighting our stars and the Uncensored Journey podcast. Once again, this is really a show where you are able to speak your truth and learn about the different diverse lived experiences around the world. Remember that not every journey is the same. There are some journeys where the path isn't even built yet. You are building the road as you're going. There are other journeys where there are some obstacles and some challenges, and other journeys where it may be easier than some. But no matter what journey you're on, just make sure that you are there to guide the person coming behind you, and hopefully make it easier for them. You are valued, you are loved, you are appreciated. And remember that hurt people don't have to hurt people. Family is what you make it. Family is what you make it. I really want us to make sure that we remember that. So, thank you so much for joining the Uncensored Journey podcast. Don't forget to like and follow us on all of our social medias at Uncensored Journey Podcast on Instagram. And you can also follow Simply Maze _thoughts on Instagram and TikTok. and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Simply May's Thoughts, which hosts the Uncensored Journey podcast. You can also listen to us on all of your podcast streaming platforms, especially iHeart, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you next time. And as y'all know, over here we don't say bye, because I'll see you later.